Hello, I'm Matteo, the Chief Mobile Opinionist at Tech Travel Geeks, and this is the side-by-side comparison between the Apple iPhone 11 and the Google Pixel 4 XL. If you don't already, please do subscribe to the Tech Travel Geeks on YouTube. Not only will you have side-by-side comparisons of certain smartphones, we also do some reviews of products, product unboxings, and we also have the Tech Travel Geeks podcast. To support us, please do subscribe to us. Right then, I thought that since it's been a few months that I've been using both an Apple iPhone 11 and a Google Pixel 4 XL, it was time to compare the two devices. On paper, these are very similar. Let's start off with the key thing. They're smartphones. They're slabs of glass. In this case, it is standard black glass at the front that has a screen, and on the back it's a sort of frosted matte finish glass. You can't really tell it's glass, it feels almost like a nice ceramic. Whereas the iPhone 11 is glass on the front and glossy glass on the back. For those of you asking why am I comparing the Google Pixel 4 XL to the iPhone 11 and not the 11 Pro Max, well, apart from the fact I don't have an iPhone 11 Pro Max 4 Enterprise Edition or whatever it's called, I have an iPhone 11, and also these two devices are in the same price range. At the time of recording this video, at the end of March in 2020, they're both around about £699. Both are 64GB devices, both have two cameras on the back, but they're very different cameras. And they're similar form factors, they're not foldable devices, but the key thing is that the software experience is very, very different. The Apple iPhone 11 runs iOS, the Google Pixel 4 XL runs the latest version of Android, Android 10, in the Google experience. Now, you'll see that they both have home screens. The main difference in software is that the iPhone doesn't have an app drawer, whereas the Google Pixel 4 XL does. In the notification shades, Google has a single one that comes down with notifications and quick settings at the top. Whereas if you're using an iPhone, you need to remember that pulling down from the right will give you your quick settings, pulling down from the left will give you your notifications. So two different approaches, two different user experiences. Apple are very controlling. You can't have a third-party launcher, so a way of selecting your apps. You can't have an app drawer. It's very, very limited. Whereas the Google Pixel 4 XL is running Android, therefore if you don't like what's there, you can use what you wish to. Now, I'm going to open up something with a white screen. Let's, for example, open Google Chrome. And so you can see that the iPhone 11 has a notch. That's where the facial recognition stuff is. That's where your selfie camera is, as well as your earpiece. Now, this is the iPhone 11. It uses Chrome as a web browser, but by default it comes with Safari. Whereas the Google Pixel 4 XL, let's open a white page on Chrome, you'll see doesn't have a notch. That's because everything is in this relatively large chin at the top of the screen. A key difference is also the screen itself. The iPhone 11 is a lower resolution LCD screen. This is older technology, which means that the whole screen is lit up when in light, in bright use. Whereas the Google Pixel 4 XL uses an OLED or AMOLED screen, which means that if a pixel is black, it's actually off. It's a slightly more efficient type of screen that also gives you a really important advantage in that the colors are more saturated and clearer. So that's the overview of the hardware on the front. The iPhone uses the proprietary Lightning charger at the bottom. It doesn't have a headphone jack. And the Google Pixel XL uses the USB Type-C standard. Now that's ironically the same type of charger that the new iPads use. It's the one most tablets and smartphones use nowadays, including laptops. For example, my laptop here is plugged in using a USB Type-C cable, which will also fast charge my device. Now, the advantage there is that if you are going to be traveling, for example, you only have to take one charger. Whereas with the iPhone, even if you have a newer iPad, you might need a different one with a different charger. Now, on the back, as I said, both of them have two cameras. Now, the Google Pixel 4 XL uses a telephoto sensor and a standard one. Google is very advanced in the terms or in the space of computational photography. Really good pictures. This year they've added a second lens, which means that you can zoom in on stuff better, and Google does all the clever stuff in software to give you better zoom. Whereas Apple have taken a different approach. Something that is much more popular at the moment is wide-angle lenses. So not only do you have a standard good quality camera, you also get a wide-angle lens on, which is great if you're taking pictures of wide scenery or close-ups of your cats or of architecture. So two different approaches to the two-camera solution to make photography more accessible and better. But on the iPhone, you have wide angle and a standard, whereas Google have gone for telephoto and standard. In my opinion, in this case, the Apple iPhone 11 is a much better option. It's much more flexible in that respect. So that's the main differences. Obviously, on the inside, there's a few technical specifications that look very different. The key ones being the processor and the innards. The iPhone 11, in this case, has less RAM. It has different type of processor, whereas the Google Pixel 4 XL uses a Snapdragon 855 chipset. It uses different ways of handling storage, but the key takeaway is that to most users that's not important. Unless you're going to be doing some serious video editing in 4K on the device, you won't notice a difference. One of the things both smartphones use, and you should probably be aware of, is gesture navigation. So it used to be that you would have, for example, a button at the bottom, a home button. That no longer exists, and being able to multitask becomes, in my opinion, more complex on iOS. It's less intuitive. I'm struggling with this. The other one on the Google Pixel 4 XL is much more straightforward. You pull up from the bottom to get your app drawer, but if you slide from off screen or you tap on the bottom, oh wait, here we go, peek, you can scroll through your items and then clear them. So multitasking, in my opinion, is easier on the Google Pixel experience. The notifications and how you handle them are better. And just in general, sharing, using native apps like Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, any messaging application, sharing is much, much easier on Android because you just go into a native experience in the apps. Whereas on the iPhone 11, the experience is much more multifaceted. It can be more complicated. Overall, these are two fantastic smartphones. They're great. They're not the pro best on the market. Google have taken a step back in terms of specifications and being the best of the best. And this is the iPhone 11, not their flagship smartphone. This is the more accessible one that replaces the iPhone XR in their product portfolio. But both are in the same price range in the spring of 2020. So these are two great smartphones, two great smartphone experiences. Both are not perfect. The proof of the pudding in this is the fact that I'm not using either of them as my main smartphone. I am using my Google Pixel, sorry, not my Google Pixel 4 XL. I'm using my Huawei P30 Pro, which is recording this video. The Huawei P30 Pro is the best all-round smartphone that I have had in the last few months, and a year in is still the one I'm using the most. This is the one I have all my key messaging apps on, all my key services, and I use them for recording many of these unboxing or comparison videos. So this was just a quick overview of my comparison between the iPhone 11 and the Google Pixel 4 XL. It's a bit like comparing apples to oranges, but I'll go further on this at a later point. For now, thank you for watching, and if you don't already, subscribe.